And some people who we have put into positions of authority are raping the country. Why? Why? Sika here na mubedi. You are leaving it for your children, and your children know you are doing this, and your children will come and tell other people's children that mo papa and mo bra, because you were stealing from the people. So those people whose parents did not steal from the people will be suffering, and your foolish children will come and tell those children mo papa and mo bra. They be one mo papa in Sika. What is this? And nobody wants to talk about it, because if you talk about it, they'll impoverish you. Hey, massa, obi enkuwa wa obi. And some
we don't want to die now, Kwesi. We don't want to die now. So obi enkuwa, not yet. In 2075 or something like that. Okay, so welcome to the show. Now, this is a very important national conversation. Forget about the jokes. We'll joke a little bit, but that's not the focus. The focus tonight is, as a country, young people, however old you are, this is the narrative of broadcast legend Kwesi Chedakwa. He's concerned about data banks' involvement in supporting governments to borrow money since 2017. He's not the only one who has expressed that concern. Other people have said it. So tonight, we're going to go into the history of borrowing. And then my favorite part, I keep saying, is our Papa and Mobra. When we finish, we'll put the story of data bank out. And then you can answer the question, and Crawford no more data bank, no more Bobra, and also man Bobra. Omo ya Crawford, and also more nya Crawford. We'll answer that question, no problem. We'll show you the details, and then you can answer the question yourself. So my first slide is this one. Now, this is a Eurobond issue from 2014 to 2021. Now, so what is Eurobond issue? Those of us who are not finance people may not understand it. So let me just do a basic appreciation of what it is. So government of Ghana, government of America, Sierra Leone, South Africa, every country borrows. All right. Now, when you are going to borrow, and it's not from the IMF, which is like governments to government borrowing, if you like, and it's from the private markets. It can be private market, can be anyone. A rich Ghanaian like Despite can decide to lend Ghana money. A rich Nigerian like Chinibu can decide to lend Nigeria money, lend Ghana money, lend anybody money. So there are people who have money. There are private sector people who have money. Since the end of the Second World War, that arrangement of borrowing from private sector has grown. So all those big companies in America, Goldman Sachs, Fannie Mae, all of them, they lend money, okay? So if you want to borrow money from the private market, and borrowing money from the private market is more attractive to government, since Dambisa Moyo wrote her book, Dead Aid. Now, in Dead Aid, I forgot to bring that book. I should have. In Dead Aid, Google Dead Aid for me. Let me show you to them. In Dead Aid, Ms. Moyo articulated the point that this kind of government-to-government World Bank borrowing is not working for Africa, because when we borrow, we don't have pressure to pay, and therefore that money is squandered. But if you borrow from private markets, you have pressure to pay, the payment terms are clear, the percentage at which you borrow is clear, and therefore you have to pay. So this issue about borrowing from the private market became attractive. What's this? Sorry. It became attractive to government. When you're going to borrow from the private market, you go to you set up, you announce that you want to borrow money, okay? And then you hire some companies who must have a lot of credibility, and that's very important. Oh, I got Dead Aid, thank you. So this is the Dead Aid. This is the book that sort of revolutionized borrowing in the world in the early 2000s. At the time I was a graduate student in England. It's very big. The lady is called Dambisa Moyo. She's a Zambian lady, and she worked for Goldman Sachs. He's a scientist originally, and then became a financial consultant. So Moyo put up this book and called it Dead Aid, and says why aid is not working and how there is another way for Africa. Proactive, this, that. Okay, so she explained why aid is not working. And she said aid is not working because there are no terms governing the aid. And it just comes and is zero, and government squander it. And she even alleged that there's an aid industry where some people in America and other places benefit from the aid that comes to African countries. Okay, so this is the book that actually revolutionized the world in the early 2000s and sort of got Africa and third world countries to actually go to the Euro market and borrow. Okay. Now, so when we are borrowing from these markets, you hire companies that must be credible, who will go to their people and say, Ghana is selling bonds. That's how they say it. How much? Ghana wants to raise 2 billion. So it's issuing 2 billion bonds. People are going to give Ghana 2 billion, and Ghana is going to owe those people, and the percentages are agreed upon. Ghana then gets companies who have clients who can give us that money. So you have to be credible. If I set up a company today and it's called Adom-Otchere and Good Evening Ghana Associates, I say I'm a financial manager, everybody will be laughing at me. Because really, no, I don't know anybody. Nobody's going to borrow money through me. So the people who are giving money, those who are lending the money to Ghana, they lend it through these people. And these people, when they lend, they give the money to Ghana, they charge Ghana a percentage for it. But why not? The point is my company, is my clients, and I've brought my clients to buy your bond, and so you pay me. So basically, for us who are not finance people, this understanding, I think, will suffice for the conversation that we're going to have over the next 20 minutes. Okay, so with that understanding, let's go back to the table and see what happens when this borrowing occurs. Now, we have a table for you that begins in 2014, but actually, the first Eurobond was in 2007. And the finance minister's company, Data Bank, had participated in that. Nonetheless, let's look at the table over here. So this is 2014. So you have transaction advisors who are divided into these categories. Transaction advisors are divided into joint lead managers, co-managers, sub-co-managers, international counsel, that is lawyers, and local counsel, okay? All right, so let's move on. In 2014, which is the President Mohammed's period, Ghana went out to borrow money. And this is the order in which the money was borrowed. These are the people who we hired to be the middlemen to help us to borrow the money. The first group of people were called the joint lead managers. They included Deutsche Bank, and then Barclays Bank, and Standard Chartered Bank. The next group of people is called co-managers. They included, guess what? Data Bank, EDC Stockbrokers, and SAS Investment. And then you had sub-co managers. It didn't apply in 2014. International Council was Denton's, and local council was JLD and MB. Okay, move to 2015 then, when Setekpe's administration and the Ministry of Finance took more money, borrowing from the international market. Who were the lead managers? Deutsche Bank, Barclays Bank, Standard Chartered Bank. And then co-managers EDC and SAS Investment. There's no Data Bank in 2015. There was Data Bank in 2014. Sub-co-manager does not apply. The lawyers were Denton's and JLD, okay? Now, 2016, borrowing. Bank of America were the lead managers. City and Standard Chartered Bank. IC Securities entered the first time in the analysis. IC Securities comes in 2016, still under Setekpe. Sub-co managers didn't apply. Denton's were still the lawyers. JLD and MB were also there. And then you come to 2018. Now, in the intervening period between 2017 and 2018, there's a parliamentary document that I'll show to you in terms of what happened. Why did the Ministry of Finance add 2 more advisors in terms of co-managers to make it 5 for the local system? I'll show you that in the parliamentary answer. But let's focus on this one. We are now on 2018. Kenneth Ofori-Atta is now Minister of Finance. Okay, so who are the joint lead managers? Bank of America, Citi, JP Morgan, Standard Chartered, Data Bank, Fidelity Bank, IC Securities. Note that IC Securities maintained their position as co-managers in 2016 under a different political arrangement, and also in 2018. Note that Data Bank also maintained their position from 2014 as co-managers and come back again in 2018. In 2014, Data Bank was not selected by Kenneth Ofori-Atta and the NPP administration. They were selected by John Dramani Mahama and Setekpe NDC administration. In 2018, of course, the government is the NPP government. Kenneth Ofori-Atta is Minister of Finance. Data Bank reappears there, not for the first time. That's important, because Mr. Kwesi Kyei-Darkwa said, you can't come into government and set up a company. He said that, I can play that back again. He said, set up a company. I want to educate our people to see that these companies were not set up, because what Kwesi is saying is true. You can't set up a company when you become minister and then use it to do business. That's totally illegal. We understand that. But we have to correct it and say what it is. These are companies who had been set up before, who had done the same business before. I'll be showing you a bigger picture of the history of these companies. So that's 2018. Data Bank, Fidelity Bank, IC Securities. Now, in the parliamentary document, I'll be showing you how much each of these companies earn, because Kenneth Ofori-Atta told Parliament that, and we have the Hansard here. We'll show you how much they earn from these borrowing. They earn good money. It looks like a good business. So, but we'll show it to you. It started in 2014, okay? All right, now 2019, the joint managers are Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Standard Chartered Bank, and the Standard Bank. And then co-managers, Data Bank, Fidelity Bank, IC Securities. And then here, sub-co-managers, you have GCB, that's Ghana Commercial Bank, and guess what? SAS Investment. Okay, so SAS, which belongs to Togbe Afede, shows up in 2015, 2014, don't show up in 16, don't show up in 18, but show up again in 19. Now, SES belongs to Togbe Afede. Togbe Afede is not a part of the MPP administration. Ken Ofori-Atta is the Minister of Finance, but SES Investments find themselves being selected by government to be SAPCO managers in the 2019 borrowing. And then the lawyers now change to White and Case, and then also the local lawyers, JLD remains and MB remains, and there's CQ Legal. Okay, so have a look at the line of local counsel, for instance. You have JLD and MB. That's 2014. 2015, JLD and MB, repeat. 2016, JLD and MB, same company. 2018, JLD and MB, Bentiental and Lecha are added to it in 2018. 2019, JLD and MB are still there, and they add CQ Legal. 2020, you have the arrangements as follows. Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Standard Chartered Bank. Then, in the local sphere, you have Data Bank, Fidelity Bank, IC Securities, GCB, SAS Investment, White and Case, JLD are still there. And then you have in the end of 2021, another law firm that's added, Corantin and Corantin are added to the Eurobond of 2021. 2021 is Bank of America, RMB Bank, Standard Chartered, Standard Bank. Then you find in co-managers a lot more, and the Parliamentary Hazard explains that one. In co-managers, you have a lot more for 2021. Cal Bank, Fidelity Bank, Temple Investments, Data Bank, IC Securities, and then you have White and Case, and you have QC Legal. Okay, so this is the history of the borrowing and who has done it. I'm going to show you a document, because we're talking in particular about Data Bank and Ken Ofori-Atta. I'm going to show you a document in 2014. This document talks about the basis on which selection was done for the 2014 one. I've selected 2014 just to show that this is a time that Ken Ofori-Atta was not the Minister of Finance, and he didn't have control over the process, as we would like to allege that because he's Minister of Finance, he has control over the process, and therefore Data Bank is getting it. This is a 2014 document where the document is telling us how they were selected, in which Ofori-Atta was not Minister of Finance. So here it is. This is the document entitled Report on the Selection of Lead Managers and Co-Managers, International and Local Legal Counsels for the 2014 Ghana Euro Bond. Okay, so I've cut out a bit of it. Background. It's important to read the background. As announced in 2014 budget and financial statement, government has initiated steps to issue an Euro bond in 2014 fiscal year. The execution of the transaction requires the engagement of the following. And that's the point I was making. You see what the letter says? It says the execution of the transaction requires certain people to do certain things. And it goes as follows. The execution of a transaction, it says, requires the engagement of the following transaction advisors. Lead managers. You call some people lead managers. Then co-managers. That's local investment banks. Then international legal counsel and local legal counsel. These are the four categories of people who do this. So if you want to participate in this, you can start by setting up a company now and work towards being a lead manager, co-manager, that's local investment banks, international legal counsel. You can set up a law firm and be an international legal counsel. I deliberately pointed out that JLD had been the law firm used by all governments since 2014. I'll come to why I'm making that point. And then you have local legal counsel as well. So you can set up a law firm. A friend of mine, he was my mate in law school, set up a very good law firm. Since he finished law school, he's doing very well. One day he may be here as a local legal counsel. And if he's here, and he gets a job, and you say, well, Bobra, I'm not sure about that. But let's move on. Okay. So the letter continues. Evaluation of proposal. The following criteria were established by the Committee for Evaluation. Criteria number 1, company experience. That was given 30 marks in the evaluation. Company experience, 30 marks. Now I'll show you the results of this soon. Okay. Ability to settle on Euroclear. I don't quite understand that, but it was part of the criteria. It was given 5 marks. Okay, other relevant investment banking experience, 15 marks. Qualification of personnel, 45 marks. Okay, discussion of other topics relevant to the transaction, 5 marks. Total score is 100. So for company experience, they will score you maximum of 30. Ability to settle, Euroclear 5. Other relevant. So this is the evaluation proposal. This is the process that was used in 2014. Very, very important that we remember it was 2014. John Mahama was president. Seth Terkper was the Minister for Finance. Ken Ofori-Atta at that time had resigned his position in Data Bank. That's not even important. He had resigned his position in data bank. What is important is that Ken Ofori-Atta had announced that he was resigning his position in data bank for 2 reasons. 1, on health grounds, and 2, to focus on the campaign of presidential candidate Nana Akufo-Addo. Ofori-Atta had made this public in 2012. This is 2014. He had made this public that I am going to support the campaign of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So I won't have much time to work with Data Bank. I've stepped out. Kelly Gajepo is working on it, but I'm still with Data Bank. That was 2012. This is 2014 conversation I'm having with you, where government went through this process to select people who will support the Eurobond. Let's see how Data Bank places in the 2014 selection criteria. Okay, so this is the scores of the selection criteria. It says, the committee evaluated and obtained the following results, ranked in descending order of the technical scores. So, EDC came top, 81.69 over 100. Guess who came second? Data Bank, 77.763. Is that what we call Wambo Bra? Is this Wambo Bra? Is that what we call Wambo Bra? This is 2014, oh. The man is not finance minister. His company came second. Is that Wambo Bra? I mean, I don't. Well, okay, let's deal with it. SAS comes third. Togbe Afede's company comes third. They have 75.63, a close third to Data Bank, I must say. IC Securities, young man David Ewadako, fantastic guy. He comes fourth, 72.13. Merban is so and so. Okay, so it is on this basis in 2014 that Data Bank were selected to be co-managers from the local investment bank group to become one of the people who are with the bond. Okay, this is more important information. Let's read this as well. Based on the rankings, EDC stockbrokers and Data Bank were considered to be technically superior for the co-manager role. However, there is a significant disparity in fees, with Data Bank quoting $20,000 plus 0.04% success fee, while EDC is quoting a lump sum of $125,000. The team recommended that the fees quoted by EDC stockbrokers should be negotiated down to $75,000 and maintain the same price requested by Data Bank. In addition, as in 2013, government will sponsor one participant from each of the co-managers for the roadshow. Conclusion, the committee recommends EDC stockbrokers and Data Bank for appointment as co-managers subject to further negotiations on their fees. This is 2014. So when we talk like this, we have to talk on facts. When we start talking about people are thieves and Wambo Brian or Ekronfor, we have to apprise ourselves about some of these hardcore facts, incontrovertible. These are the facts. So if these facts are available, it is truly unfair to come on television and say that somebody is a thief on the basis that Data Bank participated in an Eurobond. We'll build up a lot more to say. I'm not saying anything against anybody or for anybody, but as young people, we want to move this country forward. These are the things we need to deal with, and I'm going to conclude on a very interesting point. But this is the story of Data Bank in 2014. Now, if this is the story of Data Bank in 2014, what is fundamentally surprising about Data Bank qualifying again? The same criteria will be used. This criteria, this one, is the same criteria that will be used all the time. That's what they do all the time. It's an evaluation process. And that's the same thing. They will do company experience that. And if Data Bank qualified in 2014, I bet you they will qualify in 2017. I bet you they will qualify in 2018. Yes, they would. Not because they have a relationship with the finance minister, but because they've done something great in the past. Wabobra, right? Okay.